So, ladies and gentlemen, I got to see Logan yesterday, and yeah, it's a hell of a movie. It's a hell of a story. I really enjoyed it. I think Hugh Jackman behaved more like the Wolverine, especially in the latter end of the movie. He behaved more like the Wolverine. That's what I thought the Wolverine was. Someone who would leap in the air on all fours almost. And I thought that Daphne Keane, who played Laura in this movie, basically the daughter of the Wolverine, also did an exceptionally good job. In fact, she behaved more like the Wolverine than Hugh Jackman did for quite a substantial part of the movie. But I really loved the movie. I could see why it was rated R. Some of the cursing in the movie wasn't absolutely essential, but it was okay. The actors, wanted to let it rip a little bit. But at the end of the day, as you can see here, the MTV Movie Awards, Hugh and Daphne won the best duo. The best duo. And it was pretty cool, pretty awesome. Now, what can I say? This is absolutely going to be a spoiler review of Logan. So if you haven't seen the movie, you should probably by now go see it. It's free online. There's so many different places to go see this movie now. Now, what about the Wolverine? Logan was really good. Well, this is a movie about basically Logan and Xavier. Logan thinks they're the last two mutants in the world. Xavier, he has these epileptic fits. When he gets an epileptic fit, basically sends this psychic energy that can kill everyone, can put them into a cardiac arrest. Xavier is retired from the X-Men a while ago, apparently because of this illness, and we don't know if the consequences of his illness actually sort of weakened the X-Men and caused a lot of them to die, but there are not much X-Men around. Now, we know that Stryker's son is responsible for removing most of the X-Men and killing them, but encapsulating each of their powers in different serums and genetic material and being able to breed genetically these new set of children. Now, Hugh Jackman thought that there were no more mutants around, but there was a secret program going on in Mexico by a certain organization where they were breeding these mutants, but they were trying to look to manipulate and control them, and they found a way to do so. So that the Wolverine actually met another Wolverine, which was like himself, in his daughter. And then he met another Wolverine, which was a younger version of himself that was genetically made to basically encapsulate rage. And as such, they wanted orders to make these soldiers. And it was almost a perfect wrecking ball of a soldier, but he was still out of control somewhat. So anyway, not to get this story carried away too much, Hugh Jackman realizes there are mutants, meets this mutant who Dr. Xavier was telling him he was contacting and speaking with for quite a while. And that was Laura. And Laura turned out to be his daughter. There were other mutants, other children. They were going to dispose of these children and make more malleable super soldiers, which were more robotic and more receptive to wanting to fight wars. So they were trying to purge these children, but the children escaped, and in so doing, they were trying to head to a place where they would be able to set up base as X-Men and not be attacked. And they need to get past the border. But in the end, Hugh Jackman, he wasn't interested in all of that. He was just trying to self-contain and get Xavier out of the way of most human life so that they could exist in peace. But he ended up helping Laura get to this safe haven, and from there, what they called Eden, but it was really a code word for them to assemble and then get to a place where they would not be attacked, because mutants were being attacked. And they got there, but part of the story is that Hugh Jackman lost his life in the process of doing so. Now, he was dying from the adamantium in his body. It was actually a poison. And then all of these serums that he was treated with to give him super strength also were debilitating and also could drive him mad. It actually, the latter end of the movie, which I found was very interesting, Hugh Jackman literally embodied the Wolverine. He was just so insanely crazy mad and he was ravenous, and that's how Wolverine is, and that's how the Wolverine is. And he was just, I mean, he had taken the serum. He was just ripping through people, and he was already damaged and stuff because he had these huge gaping wounds in his body, and it was covered over by his clothes, and the adamantium had sort of poisoned him, and they needed to treat him to get rid of the poisoning in his body. And he was just a beast. I mean, he literally was leaping through the air on all fours and just taking out people. That was the real Wolverine. In the beginning of the movie, he was the Wolverine, but he still was a little too civil. The Wolverine's not very civil. Okay, the Wolverine is like an animal. And at the end of the movie, I mean, he pulled off the Wolverine. I mean, the Wolverine was what we were watching. Also, I don't know if it was CGI or if it was real, but the other Wolverine also was just devastatingly ravenous as well. So it was just awesome to see the Wolverine in full action. You know, it was a very bloody movie. That made my day. And I think Hugh Jackman finally encapsulated what the Wolverine is. It was nice to see him chopping up people and stuff. And man, Wolverine versus Wolverine was sick. I mean, the whole thing was awesome. The story was awesome as well. There was a lot of sacrifice going on in this movie. People close to the Wolverine and Dr. Xavier, they were murdered, and you know, it was very brutal. And I thought this was realistic. This is exactly, these people were a danger to other people if they associated with them. And then the character Laura, who was played by this young girl here, Keen, was just, I mean, it was just awesome, man. Of course, she has claws in her feet as well, so it was just sick. I mean, she was also filled with adamantium, and she had a very painful beginning as a child. Now, Logan didn't have that, but what a crazy story. What a crazy story. I enjoyed it, and I can understand now why people are talking about the future X-Men. I get it now. I really do. So, on that note, I hope that you guys enjoyed my review, my spoiler-filled review. I thought this movie highlighted a number of different emotional elements, which really made it beautiful. You had this struggling, ailing Wolverine. You had Xavier, who, besides epileptic fits, he was sort of saddened that he had to be drugged all the time because Hugh just would not, I mean, not Hugh, but Logan wouldn't listen to him, and he was just trying to contain him. It seems as though Xavier did some sort of horrible thing, and this is why Logan had to treat him. I don't know the full story, but I guess maybe we'll find out in some successive movie. So, I really enjoyed the Wolverine. Oh, there was this guy who was tracking them down. Part human, part machine. And, of course, as I said before, Mr. Stryker's son, who was responsible for the program to not destroy the X-Men, but to harness the powers and abilities they had and control them. So, that's basically the story in a nutshell. But it was well executed, and as such, you really got to enjoy it. This is Hugh Jackman's last stint as the Wolverine, but definitely a beautiful one. Definitely a beautiful one. On that note, ladies and gentlemen, if you enjoyed my review, please leave your comments below. I see why the X-Men franchise is so good. Fox has been doing a couple rated R movies, and I have to give them their props. They're really doing excellent when it comes to rated R movies, and I wish them nothing but the best. I hope you guys have a great one.